Hi, I'm Mike Granotwald, and welcome to Dad's Old Shop. I was just adjusting some settings. Uh, I was not going to get a video or stream out in my normal games because I have a lot of stuff that came up, but I always do a second job, which is Foxhole here. So, Foxhole is a MMO for a big old war, um, and it's great. I love it. It's my favorite. I spend a lot of time in this game. Uh, So part of it is everything that is made in this game is player made. Besides the starter pistol that you have and uh, like the rounds of ammunition and your uniform, everything else is player made. So every other bullet, every respawn, every piece of artillery, every truck, everything is player made. So um, part of that are what is called maintenance supplies. So the game does some like native buildings, like world buildings that spawn that are spawned by the devs. Most of the buildings are player made. Like everything on my left is player made. Everything on my left is player made. That windmill on my right is game made. This bunker on the left is player made. This fuel canister, this crane, all this stuff. This is all player made. So we are going to do what I refer to as the mass production facility Grand Prix. Uh, there's a couple ways to make maintenance supplies. So maintenance supplies come into play because things like these structures here, these concrete bunkers, they decay over time, or they will. And every time they attempt to decay, um, there is a check to see if nearby there's something providing a maintenance supply. So instead of damage being done to that building incrementally, a maintenance supply is used. So in general, each structure, each placement is one maintenance supply, and a thing generally supplies maintenance supplies for things around 60 meters around it. So it doesn't seem like much. You go, oh, you got two, you got 10. Your average base is going through between 70 and 250 maintenance supplies. Oh, that's where my air conditioner turned off. That was creepy. I don't know why that turned off. Maintenance supplies per hour. And because the game is 24 hours, you multiply that by 24 to see usually a couple thousand. So there's three big ways to make them. There's the standard factory, which is the most, or it's tied for the most expensive way. And they're not super expensive by themselves, so that's really not the, well, sort of part of the problem. Um, and then there is a building that you can build called a workshop? What the heck is this building called? Oh, I can't look at it while I'm in my truck. Hold on. It is called a materials factory. And materials factories have an option that if you put salvage, which is like scrap metal that you find, and there's fields of it, like back there's a field of it, down here there's a field of it, some mines of it over there. You can put those in, and it will spit out maintenance supplies. Um, it is pretty cheap because you usually build those pretty close to those supplies of maintenance supplies, so you don't have to go far, and you have the resources readily available, but it takes time. It's relatively slow. Um, if you're not going to actively be doing it within the factory, which is a little bit more expensive but faster, you're in between, and also the cheapest option per MSUP is the mass production facility. Mass production facilities are buildings, world buildings, in Foxhole that allow you to make a lot of something, but it is not fast. In fact, it is slower because it goes in a line. So you can make up to 9 of an item. It all has to be the same item, and it goes in a queue with everybody else that is making items. And there's a limited amount of queues. So in general, at this point in the war, the queues aren't full, so that's fine. But I set these once a day. If I was, a no life that didn't have a job, I'd probably be setting them twice a day. You might be able to get 3 queues out of them per day if you really are on the ball every 8 hours. Because that's usually about the time frame. Like your individual order might only take 2 to 4 hours, but with everybody else's order, it adds up time. So we just keep going. Thankfully, this game has cruise control as well. Excuse me. So We're going to hit all 5 of them. There's one in the hex that I just left, and we're going to save that one for last because I didn't want to change vehicles. We have a flatbed with a shipping container on it, which is holding a bunch of maintenance supply, or not maintenance supplies, basic materials, which are like the basic thing used to make most items in this game. Even if they don't directly do it, they usually are involved in some way. They're kind of like your base unit of currency. Think of it like the dollar. Salvage is like coins, where you can use them to make up to dollars. And sometimes you can do special things with coins, like put them in presses and stuff like that. But in general, your dollar is your go-to, and that's the basic supply here. A basic material, sorry. And a basic material is 2 supply, or 2 salvage. So 2 salvage makes 1 basic material, so it's 2 to 1. So pretty easy conversion. I have a truck full of these, and we get to go to all those MPFs and set queues and pick up my orders. And for, I believe, the first one, or maybe the first 2, I have to drop off some of the supplies in a temporary holding facility, pick up what I have, set a queue for the next order, and then go back and pick up the remainder just because of how space works out. Because I'm going to be I have 56 crates here, and it can hold 60, and I'm going to be picking up 9 of the maintenance supplies at each one, so I have to make room for them. And it takes 14 crates to make them, basically, so I'm at 56, that's 4, 18 minus 5. Yeah, so only the first one actually will have to. I did that math good. Okay. Also, there is like a chat and everything. I don't have that up right now because Foxhole is kind of a hard game to stream, especially if you're doing anything exciting, because you have to usually play on a pretty significant delay. Because everything is live and happening, people will scroop the game on streaming sites for people that are leaking intelligence. Because there is intelligence. There's 2 maps. There's a map that shows intelligence, and there is one that does not, and that's called the secure map. I'm using the secure map. In fact, I've unbound the key for the detailed map, just to make sure I don't hit it by mistake. Some people just have an overlay that comes up when they do. I'm not going to worry about that. We're just going to use the basic map, and I'll rebind that key later. Also, usually when you're driving, you have a mini-map. And that mini-map also will give information. So I have that turned off. So I do know where I'm going. And since mass production facilities are world structures, they show up on this map. So that's what we're doing. We're going to go pick up and place a bunch of orders so that the regiment that I'm in can continue to keep their facilities operating. Because I get like 2 hours a day of this game, and oh man, once again, if I was like no response, like if I had this game when I played World of Warcraft, like I'm playing this instead, I would dedicate so much time into this game. Because it is very fun. It's fun being part of a 24/7 war with people, and we're in a current war that I'm enjoying a lot, but people are understandably not super happy with it. It's being politely called the Forever War, because the war that we're on had some big changes, patch-wise, that made certain things very strong, like rebuilding things, and made certain cannons really strong. So strong, in fact, that you really can't push on an area unless that cannon is dead. So you, as a attacking force, or as a defending force, you really only have to defend one thing, which is that cannon. So it's made the game very slow, and it doesn't matter if you're coming from water, if you're in range of the cannon, you're in range of having your mission scrubbed and going home. So, excuse me. I play on the colonial side, as you can tell by wardens have lost outreach ranch, and I would chant F, but I'm not using chat, so I don't leak it until there. I've been playing this game since, I guess, January, maybe late December, early January, and I've played all colonial. I enjoy colonial. I'd probably only go warden if they went on a losing streak. Like if they lost the next 2 wars, although the war after that should be airborne. So if if they go on a 2 losing streak, I'll come in on the 3rd. So from there, we've been Fighting for, I believe it's 57 days now. I don't think this actually shows the actual real world days. In the map, it says it's been 1,347 days, which somebody did bring to my attention is almost the length of the First World War, which is pretty funny because that's what a lot of this feels like. Like, I'm based on the Western Front, like around here, and it's just been trench after trench after trench. We're the ones trenching. We build trenches and build them at the Wardens. It's been very fun. Watching them spend very expensive munitions to destroy holes in the dirt in the ground. So, been enjoying it a lot. Also, a lot of nukes. We've nuked a lot of things. It's not an actual nuke. We just call it that. It's closer to a V2 rocket. But when it hits an area, it makes it so that area's structures are destroyed, and if they're world structures, they cannot be rebuilt. So if it's like a town hall, like a capital, that it's no longer a capital for the rest of the game. Like here in the Deadlands. And there's a storage depot there, a factory, and a garage. All those buildings unusable for the rest of the war. The Wardens hit that one. But so far, the nukes have... Ooh, that's a blood tender. I love blood tenders. You don't see them super often because they're expensive. But also, it's really far back to be like not on a train track. It's pretty far. This is a vanity piece. But what this is a mobile hospital. You hook it up to a train and it acts like a hospital. So you can put critically wounded people on here to get reinforcements. So it's, you know, Soylent Green is people, but very efficient. So the nuke balance so far is imbalanced. There's been 11 nukes that have been dropped so far, and the Colonials have successfully launched 11 nukes, and the Wardens have launched 2. Not that this is an indication of winning or anything like that, because war ain't over till it's over. Wardens are stinky, but you should respect your opponents. And comeback wars are a thing. So, but we've been nuking like everything, like to the point where some places are running out of targets. So we got to make a stockpile here. We're just going to call this Temp 1. And we're going to submit, let's say 10. Temp 1 package, and then we'll pick up those 10 later. Because now we have to go across the street to the mass production facility and place the order for the maintenance supplies. I would bring up the map to show where we've nuked, but as you see, a lot of these facilities only have one working crane. And the crane is a world structure. These other cranes are ones built by players, but they're all occupied. It's kind of like the bathroom. Either use it or get off it. I don't want to hold anybody else up because I'm yammering and looking at a map. And... VFX. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, this is actually the first time I've ever encountered a full order queue. Yeah, that would make sense. It's all maintenance supplies. Are any of them about to pop? Is it worth waiting for any of them? 14 minutes now. Alright, well, I didn't need to, this does leave me with an issue. Because I do need to shed some spaces. I need to shed 5 spaces to get those back. All right, well, we're building something. Let's see what the queues are like. God, these are pretty much full. There's a big Logi regiment that's spaced out of here, so. All right, that'll do it. Some smoke grenades, because I know we don't have a lot of those. They're one of those ones that they don't, not very many of them come in a crate, and they get used a lot when they get used. So you don't, when people are doing stuff with smoke, they don't take one smoke. They take, you know, 5, 6. Which usually is a dumb idea. Except in the case that you're good at the game and it's a good idea.
Sorry.
Alright.
I just burped so hard I'm blind. Eyes. It won't let me commend you. It says you're too sexy or something.
Okay, so now the next place, I do a big old loop because we got pretty far to go. That was a bit weird because I messed up my math, and I know I needed all the crates. So the next spot is Terminus. So we're gonna take the road going east. Well, this goes left to right. I was actually based out of here. At some point, I did a like solo factory to like figure out factory work for like facility work because it's a whole different like type of game from either the gunplay or even just the base logic, like what I'm doing, like the trucking simulator part, also train simulator. Because I was in a regiment and I was helping around the fact, but I didn't know why we were doing things. So to figure that out, I decided to make a facility of my own that did some stuff. Not a lot of stuff, just some. Mostly rocket artillery. Um, and I also made advanced construction vehicles for. This is Great March. This is basically Iowa. I made them for the fingers over there, which is very stupid because I needed to make a train. So I gave myself so much extra work to deliver stuff extra far. But I was based over here in this farm. I want to see what's over here. It's not a desirable location because it's inherently pendant and the walls stop you. Um, I think most of the time that it's probably empty, or there's like a little base in here because the walls do provide okay cover. Yep, I was based in here. My little factory was right here, among the pumpkin patch. And I had a little bit of expansion into here, and then a little bit of expansion up forward. And then I had a train line that came out from this area in front and went down into here because there was a train line that went north to south here, which was really nice. Don't know why they don't have. I guess they do have it here. Yeah, basically what that train line was, except this was pushed in a little bit. It's better closer to the road anyway. It's easier for ride-alongs because usually trains are pretty valuable, so you'll bring somebody with you in a Jeep. Also, you can't switch where tracks are going because there's so many forks. You can't switch them from inside of the train, so having somebody else makes you go faster because you don't have to stop all the time. I was solo. So, and I was doing pretty safe train routes. So, trains can get jumped and destroyed. Seen it plenty of times. I only had 3 cars on my train, not the 13 that you can get. So, my train was small. It never had anything very enticing on it. Like it didn't have any battle tanks or artillery or anything on it. Most of the time, like it was rocket artillery, which, you know, honestly, I spent more time shipping the ammo than I did the launchers. So it was a mixed ammo and that factory. So it was fine. It taught me a lot. It taught me I don't really want to engage in that part of the game, especially on any scale, because like our regiment runs a bigger, much bigger facility now. That is actual work, like customer service and everything. But we need to because there's kind of an informal, formal system for claims for resource fields and stuff, and places to build. And we wanted a place, and to get that place, we had to do something for our faction. And they negotiated that. I'm not privy to the negotiations. I'm not that high up. I'm just a grunt. But part of that was building this facility. So that was good, sort of. I mean, I don't work in that, but that's kind of what these M subs are going to protect or to fulfill. I guess I could have seen if their MPS were full, right? Yeah. Yeah, you can see the amount of queues here. Oh my god, now it says 24 out of 25. It looked like that one was like 15 minutes. It hasn't been 15 minutes. I've been duped. Deceived. Smeckledorfed. I mean, and the thing's like, I'm going to be back there, which is annoying. Also, I took the wrong way. I meant to go norther. That's fine. We can go this way. I'm just making a big old loop. We might find our way up here anyway, because the MPFs are in Ashfields, Great March, Akrithia, Terminus, and Kalakai. And I'm used to, my regiment has traditionally been based out of the east, but because of changes in our, the coalition that we're part of, we are now in the west. Coalitions are also one of those things that's like not formal. It's completely informal. Like the game has systems for regiments, and on the Warden side, they have pretty big regiments. On the Colonial side, and I don't know why this is. Sorry, I was cracking my neck. Don't know why this is, but we don't have very many big regiments. We have a few. 420th is the biggest, and then there's some other ones that are pretty big, like SOM, SOM. And I guess 404? Yeah, 404 is pretty big. Also, UGBE, I think, is pretty big. The reason why those are bigger, they're national regiments. Some regiments are big because they're the regiment for people of that language or group. Like, 404 is like the Russian regiment. Air is also big, but not as big as 404. Air is another big Russian regiment. UGB is the biggest Brazilian regiment. And 420th is like an experience. They invite everybody. They don't really vet anybody. But it's a good place for new players because you're almost never going to be told you can't do something. Sometimes that's great for teaching people. Sometimes it's like, why did you give that expensive thing to this person that doesn't know what they're doing? But you know what? They made it. So they can do what they want with it. And for ours, most of our regiments are kind of mid-sized. And that's mid-size is like, 20 to 30 active members on at a time. Maybe higher with operations, but usually around 20 to 30. My regiment's a little bit on the smaller end of that, because my regiment is actually mostly EU. So during nighttime NA, we may have 10 people on. EU's it's closer to like 10, 20, 30, sometimes a little bit more. So for us to compete, we have to... Excuse me, so bad. You really don't usually do. We have to do things to make sure that we have operational control of an area or an objective, because a bunch of people working towards the same objective is good, but if they're not under some same type of leadership and communication structure, it adds a layer of difficulty and makes it harder. So the way that Colonials address that, instead of disbanding regiment, which I think is sometimes actually the better idea, is coalitions. So coalitions are groups of regiments that are similar for one reason or another, or are disparate enough that okay, sorry, there's like two methodologies. There's the we're similar enough, but we want our own command structure, and then there is we want to make an army, but we need parts of it. So, an example of we're all similar is like Veli, Veli. They're a coalition of mostly Latin American players. So they have UGBE and then they have 7HP, which is the largest Spanish guild, as well as like TFV and they also have PARS, which isn't Spanish at all. I think they're Turkish. But in general, it's a lot of Latin American guilds, regiments. And they do a bit of everything. UGBE in particular also does naval, which is cool. So does 7HP. But not every coalition has people that do naval in it because naval is kind of hard. There are there's one purely naval coalition, and then there's one coalition that has a lot of naval in it. Well, two coalitions that have a lot of naval in it. NEP has locks. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. And CBG, CRG, CGR. And they're all regiments that run boats. They're not purely naval regiments. And naval's really the specialty of a couple people in those regiments and not necessarily the regiment. But they run it a lot, so they're fairly good. But they also have a lot of other things. ZEP is a very big coalition, like a really broad tent coalition. So they're pretty strong. They're definitely in like the A rank of coalitions. And Veli is also pretty strong. They're like AB. And then you have the We're Building an Army Coalition. And also, and just like we're similar, FLA, which is SOM, which is a pretty big one, and one CMD, which is more of a, used to be more exclusive. It looks like they're actually looking for more members, but one CMD was a lot more high skill base where they would test people out before allowing them. SOM was similar for a while until they needed people, but SOM was big enough to have a cedar regiment in AOX. A lot of the big regiments have that. 420s has feeders. Also 404 has feeders. And then you have there's FLA, there's CRA. CRA. Is that CRA, FLA, and CRA? I'd have to look up the chart. There's a whole chart for coalitions. But there's one, actually it might be FLA, that just took in some Chinese regiments that had them join, so they can get 24-hour coverage of things. So that's cool. So like that's an idea of, hey, we're pretty similar. Also, we want to bring in people that give us capabilities we don't have. So like having a regiment that's like opposite time zone to you allows you to keep maximum uptime. Like on the warded side, I think 11E is really big on that. And Seoul is similar. They have people in every time zone, but they really are strongest in the EU time zone. But they do have a fair amount of US West Coast. And Seoul has a naval regiment in it. That's pretty good. And they have other people that do naval in it, and they're pretty okay. But they do a lot because they have a HVL, which is one of the bigger logistics regiments on the colonial side, probably second only to T3C, which I'm not sure is in a coalition. They might just be on their own. T3C is an animal of its own. And Seoul also has air, which is kind of a big tent regiment, because it's a bunch of smaller Russian regiments that all come together and thinks it has clicks, but a lot of that is kind of circumstantial because I don't speak Russian. And then there's also like, I think that's like Amber, NCR, and then some smaller regiments like ECH, Bunny. I'm trying to remember some of them. KOP. And then you have the purely naval coalition. They do other things too, but like their bread and butter is naval. How many spaces do I have on here? I think I'm full. Is Trinet, which is 3 regiments. I think it's Cabal, Spades. No, Trident was a regiment that was 3. It was like it was Spades, something, and then their coalition which is also, I think, called Trident, which is confusing, is them, MMM, and Cabal. And maybe like 69th? Oh, we're going to call this Temp 2. We're going to put away 9. And look at there. There's a destroyer. UGBE. I'm fine showing that. I mean, usually I wouldn't, but there's nobody watching, so I'm good. By the time anybody notices, they'll be well underway, if they are going underway. I think it was the last war for Mardi Gras. They did a conga line across a bunch of places back to their. They went from like one of the center map locations out into the east in like a big conga line, and that was pretty funny. It was like a big carnival parade of like a carnival military parade, and they went and messed some stuff up with the wardens. It was last war we were in the east in Endless Shore and Reavers, and that was oof. That was rough. A lot of that front was basically a crumple zone for most of the war. Oh no, I didn't mean to do that. I have to make the new order. You can also tell that some people in the regiment weren't used to fighting over there, because the east and the west just have different terrain. Like in the east, snow starts earlier because there's a Hexthickland shelf that is always like freezing, and that's just like a feature of it. Ooh, my wrist hurts. Not a good time to have wrist hurty. I'll show it on map when I get there. Yeah, so Stickland Shelf, nuke. Those reds are nuked areas. But this hex is perpetually cold, as is the north of Endless Shore, whereas in the west, it doesn't get cold up until you get to the Nevish line. So snowstorms do happen in both, but it's just colder up there, and it changes like how you have to act, because there's more storms, because it's colder. Things freeze, so you have to worry about cold gameplay and freezing to death and stuff like that, because those are all mechanics in this game. And it is harder to partisan on this side because of how everything is arranged up north. Like here, you can do some sneak stuff around all these little things to get up into here, and here you have Stickland Shelf, which in general, there's a lot of watchtowers and things like that. It's very easy to see. It's open ocean, but with a lot of islands that are close enough that people will see you because they're going on and off islands and stuff like that. It's just harder to partisan in. Some of the regiments that we do like pirating a lot. That's good. You know, take warden stuff. They don't deserve it. That's our stuff. All right. Man, I'm making this take way longer than it needs to. I don't know if it's just because I'm yapping. There's a website that I sometimes use, and I didn't bring it up because I didn't want so many windows, but you know, Waze, you know, the thing for car traffic. Well, there's a Waze for Foxhole called Logi Waze, which will give you the best route, the fastest route to go to places, and you could put a lot of trips on it, like a lot of stops. And this route usually takes 28 minutes nonstop, and I'm stopping to do things, but excuse me, I'm 10 minutes over already. So it's probably going to take an hour, which is not what I wanted. But it looks like, based on when I was looking at our stockpile, we have enough materials in the stockpile that I don't have to do any facility, or don't have to do any salvaging work to make sure that people can do what I'm doing and set queues for tomorrow. because that's my goal as night shift, to just make sure there's enough basic resources so that people can set their mass production factory queues, because multiple mass production factory queues are the only ways that regiments are able to keep stocked up on things, like general things. And there's still some stuff that you just have to make in factories, like buckets. Buckets are a big one for us. Also things like radios and certain types of explosives. So now that we are on our way back, we're going to do the straight line hit here. We're going to go through Akrithia to Kalokai, and then back to my home hex. We're just going to not worry about Great March, I don't think. We'll see. We'll see how I feel after Kalokai. It's not that much of a diversion. Just because the road from Great March back over to Red River, not Red River, Ashfields is pretty good. Ooh, they're doing good up in Stickland Shelf. Man, nuking, because a nuke went off today a couple hours ago at Port Rhyme there. And Port Rhyme was really the reason why Wardens would even want to hold that hex, because it's a big old seaport. And it's very good for them. And they don't have that option anymore. They have to move stuff to either Godscrofts or... Godscrofts is probably the smarter option, honestly. It doesn't seem like it, but if you had to evacuate a bunch of stuff, it is safe enough that, like, we would have to do a huge invasion to take it, and it is on their side, so it would be a hard invasion to do. And your stuff that you took out of the stockpile at Port Rhyme would be relatively safe. You'd have to move it pretty far, and you would need to waterlodge it, but you need to waterlodge it at least once anyway. You know? Sorry, my phone was getting hot. I had to turn down the screen brightness. Oh, Akrithia. How I hate thee. Akrithia sucks because a lot of times you have a dry dock and it's like over here because it's protected. But that sucks because you have to go all the way through all these turns, and boats turn like boats. Oh, yeah, and the game has a day-night cycle and everything, so like at night you can't see very far. So it's better for stealth ops, and also like automated defenses can't see as far. So if you're doing any sneaky operations, they usually happen at night. Whereas offenses happen during the day, because you can usually see, and you're not snuck up on by crafty people. That's a big one, especially as a colonial, that people take a while to learn, is that if you're in a vehicle and it's nighttime, you go where it's safe. You don't fight at night as a vehicle in general, unless you absolutely have to, or you have enough people to give good coverage, because people just run at you in the dark, and it's not very far for them to run from the edge of your vision. It only takes them 5 or 6 seconds, and depending on what vehicle you're in, you might not be able to turn quick enough, and then boom, sticky grenade, sticky grenade, sticky grenade, sticky grenade, and now you're tracked, and now you really can't get away. The other one is in Patridia right down there. I used to do this all by train. I could do it by train. I'm not going to show the train map, but you could do it. Also, that bridge. I've lost things on that. I think I once roofed a Jeep on that bridge, where somehow I went over the edge of it, like the edge wall, and I couldn't get it off, and I was super embarrassed. And it took 2 days for that Jeep to despawn. So every day I'd come back, or every time I went by here doing logistics and stuff, I just see that thing for the next 2 days. And then the Jeep despawned, thankfully, saving me from my embarrassment. Yeah, 1 CMD. Now, see, then they're very operation focused usually. I'm sure they have a facility somewhere. Even as a mid-sized regiment, you don't really complete much if you don't have a facility somewhere. Oh no, I have to go to deposit 4. Boo. Package it up. I have to go. I thought I dealt with this. I guess I'm silly. Oh, it's because I didn't set MPF before. Because if I did, I would have 5 more spaces. I see. I see. The fool is me, and also Great March for having a full MPF queue. Alright, time to go to the seaport and make a temporary stockpile. Excuse me. Yeah, roughly per scale, this game's whole map is about the size of France per scale. And each hex is pretty different. Maybe one day on stream I'll show how much I don't know about the map, because there's a GeoGuessr, but for Foxhole. Yeah, GeoGuessr might be fun to do on stream also. Ooh. That's a pretty ship. It's not letting me in this crane. I'm gonna name this stockpile Temp 3. Because why not? And these private stockpiles will go away. So you do 4? After 2 days. And some change of not interacting with them. And since this game has a very loose idea of property rights, if that does expire, that time frame, on a private stockpile that you've made, it goes public. So the items don't just straight disappear, but they go into the public access where anybody can take them. So in general, that's better for the health of the game. So you're not just like, you know, having people sit on stuff, or people that produce stuff early, regardless of their intent, eventually have that stuff delivered. You know, you get time to do it as your own, and you can refresh that stockpile, and it can be in there as long as you're basically logging on every day, every day and a half, every day and a half to keep that queue open. Because if you go 2 days, I think it's like 28 hours. No, 52 hours, 52 hours. So it's 2 days and 4 hours. So like it allows you to do a weekend exactly, and then come right back on. You know, might be a issue, but you know, I would like 3 days and 4 hours, but you know, I guess they wanted to make sure that people show up. I wonder if the time has changed. It's hard to look up old patch notes for this game. It wouldn't surprise me if there's multiple iterations, because there's been multiple iterations of everything. This game's actually 8 years old. Yeah, about 8 years old. I think 2017, maybe 2018. So the reason I'm putting them in a squad like this, when I'm making them instead of just making them personal, is that on the off chance somebody in my regiment, or the regiment that I'm a part of, wants to pick these up, they can. So as long as they're in one of the same like squads that I'm in, they can pick it up. Not that anybody would want to drive out this far and do the Grand Prix like I do, but it's an option. And vehicles have fuel, so gotta gas up. No tornadoes and rippets here, though. Well, time to go and get those 4 crates of base materials. It is a little bit weird because it's a storage container. It can only take crates of items. Like there's some item. The crate system's weird in this game. A crate is like a bundled version of a thing. Sometimes it definitely provides a weight savings, and sometimes provides a quantity per slot savings. Like a crate of an item is usually like between, like for these things are like 100, but they also stack to 100. But like for guns, a gun would be one inventory space, but a crate of guns is like 40 guns in that one inventory space. So they're meant for logi, because you can't dig into a crate. Crates are unbreakable by players. They have to get put into a basically frontline bunker base, a frontline base to be opened. And once they're opened and put in that base and people can take out of them, you cannot recrate them. So you cannot create new crates after they've been created initially. That's not confusing at all. And then also there's this reserve system, which is wild. So the reserve system is basically, if you made something with public materials, it is public. If you made something with your private materials that have never touched public materials, it is private and able to be put in a reserve stockpile. If your private materials ever through a mistake or just not knowing touched public materials, even if they didn't mix, if they touched it, were in the same inventory space, they all are considered public materials, whether you want them to be or not. All right, and now next one is Kalokai. So we're part of the colonial faction. The colonial faction is like vaguely Greek, Roman, and a lot of our equipment looks like World War II kind of American equipment. Wardens were blue. They kind of look like World War I French and German inspired. But we look more American GI, which is partially why I chose this faction. Also, this faction was losing at the time, so I, did that to team balance. And I enjoyed and I liked it, met people, and hung out. This game has lore. It's told like Dark Souls, in that it's all on items and equipment. Oh, it's a hatchet. So like when we go to a stockpile, I'll look over an item real quick and it will give a description of it, and that description will talk about other lands and stuff like that. The TLDR is that this is a land of endless war. Every war is the buildup of past aggressions that follows after the rebuilding and generational forget of a greater war that happened. So, like, each war is unique and in the future from the previous, but an indeterminate amount of time in the future. Because the stuff that you're using now is literally the ruins and relics of previous wars. So the colonial faction is a faction of the Empire of Messia. Messia is basically Rome. So Rome owned a lot of things, as did the Golden Empire of Messia. They fell. And then the northern clans, which are basically the Gauls and Celts, in Siva, as this place is called, broke away and had their own thing. And south of the Sivish were people of Veli. Veli was a different kingdom. Closer in ties to Messia, but split from them as well. Then a bunch of stuff happened, a bunch of years passed, and then there was an uprising hundreds of years later in Veli. And during that, the Sievish, who previously had a pretty good relationship with the Velians, built a giant wall to keep the Velian problems on the Velian side, and then they funded a bunch of militia groups to help stop the overthrow of the prior government, basing them, making them Sievish puppets because of that. And then for all of the parts that we can play of Rocky here, it was all under warden control, namely of the Archons. But of the south, like below the wall, they were part of it, but were subservient. So like, this is the wall. It like goes from west to east. It's pretty big. From Westgate down to the Heartlands through. Does it go through Great March? No, that's a road. Hold on. This is the wall. It's gray. Heartlands to Umbra Wildwood to the Drowned Vale, and into Owl's Bite. The Drowned Vale is like that because the Wardens broke a dam to stop. Because there was a rebellion led out of Terminus, which is why the city looks so different from all of our other cities. By Theomara, who was the descendant of a great colonial general named Silas Morrow, against the conditions, living conditions that the Sievish were forcing the Velians into. So this war was the war where we broke through the bulwark, which is the name of that thing, and threatened their capital in the Deadlands and destroyed it. This used to be the Sievish capital, and it used to be called Sunhaven. So the Wardens now actually reside with their capital over about here in Whedon's Row. Our capital is down around here. Demokratos. And after that last big war, that big dust up, we kind of went along the borderline where we owned stuff just north of the wall and like just north of the wall, and they owned everything higher. And that's kind of where the war starts. We're actually pretty close to starting conditions because this war has been very slow. Not that it hasn't been bloody. It's already like one of the deadliest wars, probably going to exceed that. More nukes than ever shot. A lot has happened, but it's just prone to stalemate. We've had some breakthroughs on the west here, which is nice. It's about time. And it looks like Stickland Shelf is going to have breakthroughs because they're about to, if they destroy that last place, they're going to get border bases into Morgan's Crossing and Weathered Expanse. And we fought in Morgan's a little bit earlier this war, but the Wardens repelled it. And we also fought a little bit in Weathered, and the Wardens repelled it. We fought a little bit in Reavers, but that very little of that has been actual pushing through Endless Shore. It's been like having the top of Endless Shore and then putting boats down. So in general, our flanks have been holding pretty well. Hope I had to turn there. And all those places that are nuked for a reason. Port of Rhyme had that seaport, which they used to protect. Like, we would have every land mass here except Port of Rhyme, and the fact that they're so close to the logistics route for water made it so it was very hard to take down. They could afford to burn a lot of resources to keep it alive. This is a frontline refinery or storage depot that they were using down here to protect it. Also a well. So we got rid of that depot so they could stop using it to push into Endless Shore. There's the Colostra, which they nuked. The Treasury, that was our push base. We loved it. How dare they? They took our treasures. Then we nuked the Weathered Expanse, Foxcatcher, which has a refinery, which allows you to make basic materials, which sustain pushes, basically. So got rid of that. Then we nuked, or the Wardens, being mad babies because we had taken Mox and from them after they had taken it, had nuked Maiden's Vale, so they took our treasure and our maidens. That also had a frontline refinery, which was very rude of them. Actually, it's weird how many frontline refineries there are. I'm just realizing this now. Deadlands wasn't one, but does have a storage depot, and it has a factory so you can build reinforcements and a garage so you can rebuild armor up there. So when vehicles have their armor broken, they can get repaired at garages instead of having to let it die. Where the fuck am I? Oh, excuse me. Excuse my language. There we go. And then we nuked into Callahan's Passage. This was the capital of the... it also was being protected by a seaport. So got rid of that seaport so that they have to use other places to fund pushes, and we almost got Crumbling Post, but that got canceled. They do have a storage depot over in Solace, but they don't have a lot of storage depots, which makes it hard sustaining pushes out of here because you have to drive supplies from farther. And as I mentioned before, moving crates, which is what supply depots use, is a lot more efficient than supplying bunker bases, which once they're in there, you can bring them out, but you bring them out individually. So where you can put in and take out, 100 reinforcements in 2 minutes using crates, it would take you like 20 minutes doing that individually. It says it's fastest going through the island from prior Logi Wazes, but I don't believe that. I think I should just go all the way down. Next time. Next time. Oh, it might have... So different roads make you go faster. I was like, maybe it does this because the road's better, but it's obviously not. It's a dirt road. I'm using a map pack add-on that shows like the conditions of the road. So like red is like packed earth, or so clear is dirt, or white is dirt. Brown is like macadam, like asphalt, like gravel roads. Yeah, gravel, I think. So they're cutting your baseline for what is considered a good road. And then you have your paved roads, like your cobbled roads, your paved ones, and they give you the highest speed. Like this here, this old Roman-looking road. You can zoom on these, baby. Pioneers used to ride these for miles. So, even though we're called the Colonials, our faction is more like, what if in 1776, instead of the Americans going for independence and just wanting to be their own country by themselves, they were like, we're going to be independent from England, and we're going to join the Empire of France. So we joined a bigger power, and we have a seat on their Senate to help protect us from northern aggression. And the goal of the Colonials isn't to kill all wardens, as so many people say, and as so many wardens say, kill all Colonials. Our objective is regime change. It is to get the populist representation, because the wardens are ruled by a royal autocracy headed by the Archon. And the Archon is a hereditary leader. Ian Callahan's the most famous of them. He's basically their George Washington. But there's like lore snippets that the current one is decadent and throwing huge lavish balls while people are getting drafted as child soldiers and dying. And in their capital, Whedon's Row, nobody gets drafted from Whedon's Row, but only the rich could afford to go to Whedon's Row. So it's like a noble court thing. So in general, whether they know it or not, most of the wardens that you see fighting are of not noble lineage, unless they're officers. But because the nobles and the people that had money went to Whedon's Row, and they don't get drafted. Colonials have a legacy of martial tradition. We're more collectivists in lore, where they also don't like statues and paintings of people, because we view them as kind of like decadent and boastful. So it's much more humble to have like visions of so I'm just looking at my count. My count is super off. Because I should have 14 here. Like, even if I get out, that's at the shipping container. I don't have enough to... I don't even have enough to go and set that other queue anyway. Although I guess I'll stop there tomorrow and set that queue, I guess. If I have time. I might not. I have the summer party tomorrow, or in Saturday, the end of summer party that I throw, so I have a lot of preparing to do, including building a high jump and the axe throwing targets. And my wife was like, "Oh, I see you have off this day. Why don't you, instead of getting an early start on your day, drive me and daughter to places so I can get an oil change?" And oh, on the day of the party, I'm gonna go do other things and not help you set up. So I got a lot ahead of me. Yeah, I can't even make this set that MPF. So back we go. Once we complete the loop, I'll end stream because it's been about a little. It's been over an hour, so we'll probably get there about an hour and 15, hour and 20. Sorry, my chair was sinking. I just wanted to get a stream out today because otherwise I wasn't going to. And I don't know the 2 hours to play my summer card today, even though I want to, and I won't have it this weekend. I also need to get a weight bench. Oh, excuse me. We're doing like a friend combine where we're doing some measurables, and part of that is a bench press of an anvil. So it's an anvil press, but not really. But I need a bench, and I guess we could use a saw bench that I have, but I was looking for a weight bench, and I went to thrift stores today, and neither of them had one. So I'm gonna look a little bit more tomorrow, but I just don't have a lot more time to look because I didn't want to spend $50 for a new one. People having some train thievery. Four heavy trucks. Ooh. Heavy trucks for thee. The facility's covered in heavy trucks. If one went missing, who would know? I mean, I'm not going to touch him, but I was eyeing him up. And this is like an asphalt road. So like the cobbled and asphalt roads are the best. All sorts of little rules in this game. It's very complicated. But it's fun. I have like 900 hours in this game since January. So it's almost September, so it's about 100 hours a month, which is, I'm just like, God, 3.5 hours a day? Which is wild, because most nights I think I played an hour and a half, 2 nights. 2 hours? I guess maybe I catch up on weekends. Like, one day I might have to have an intervention. Today's not that day. We're going to win this long war. And making sure that all of our places are operating and not decaying is an important part of that. And a good reason to spend an hour and 20 minutes doing this. Oh yeah, we destroyed Epstein Island. That was on west. That was in our lane there. Come on, don't actually disconnect, please. You've been so good today. I've had disconnecting errors recently. Server Hamster is very tired with how long this war is and how many. So basically, the maintenance supplies was put in because people would build a lot and it would stress the servers. So this gives a way for buildings to go away so the servers can recover. If it does go bad, I can always get back into the game. It's just, I have to hope that my body's still there. Yep, here we go. So, turn to main menu. We just have to hope that my body's still there. All right, so bad start. Bad start. If it goes really well, you'll spawn back onto your bodies, and I didn't. So, We're gonna spawn. Where was I going? I was going into this place. So, oh God, to walk so far. We're gonna go from Red River and see if it spawns me in my body, or if I have to run back to my truck and look at my sleeping body. Oh, good. It spawned me right at my truck. Perfect. Doesn't always. Sometimes I get confused on whether I spawn from the hex that I disconnected from or the hex that I was going to. I think it's the hex I'm going to. But cool. Minimal distraction. Or we didn't gain much time there. We're still not speedrun time, but you know, close. This run could be faster. This loop could be faster if I had a smaller vehicle, but I'd have to do the loop more times, which would definitely end up taking longer. Just because the average truck only has 15 storage spaces, which is enough for setting one queue and receiving one queue. So it would be 4 to 5 different trips. Where this is just one big trip. One big loop. But that breakthrough on the west is looking tasty. Oh, Epstein Island. Are the labels still here? Oh, no. In the secure mode, it doesn't show map labels. But that there was Epstein Island. They built an artillery base there, and we knew that the things were there. Ooh, Mara, we have that back. I wonder if we actually lost it. I think we did. Maybe. Maybe not. I'd have to check. So what I was looking for was there's technology in this game where, like, after you capture something, it takes time to research, which is actually just real-world time plus players spawning at a place and engaging it to get benefits out of. Like, for instance, this town base, these orange things underneath, like the shirt and canteen item, those are techs. So, you know, you can build safe houses. We have access to a seaport. There's mortar houses that are enabled. If a place is taken, those don't automatically come back online. They take time. Like looking at Mara. Mara has all those options, but none of them are unlocked, which is sad because I want that storage depot because there's warden stuff in there. But it looks like they flipped it and it restarted the tech. Because every time it gets rebuilt, that tech goes to 0. When it gets rebuilt by the other side. If you manage to rebuild it, it will not revert to 0. And this is, excuse me, to have your attacks mean something, so that if you break stuff, it takes time to get full capabilities back. So it's easier to attack through the next time because it doesn't have all those facilities and that abilities. Ah. No, I knew that wouldn't work. I was looking for ways to make that little squad thing go away. It just doesn't. It's like, press the bad button. It's like, nope, looks like I have to leave to get off of them. Yeah, if I were going to stream Foxhole, I'd have to do it on a delay. Hey, that's shit, because I like engaging with the world chat. This is not my preferred way of playing it, actually. I think that's important, to realize what you like. So Red River Wall Nice does not have a mass production facility. This actually used to be the historical base of HVL. That would have the Red River Container Yard, but it looks like they've moved over to closer to the MPF and Ashfields. Actually, it looks like they moved over to Tichoma in Origin. Because they have a container yard over there. Also, we have 6 radar stations there for unlimited intelligence. ABS, huh? I don't know the regiment. Oh, that's a Warden heavy truck. Somebody got a score there. Tasty lick. And then just a bunch of vehicles just out in the open. Oh, I'm going the wrong friggin' way. My mind is wandering. Got a long day of work today. Oh, there's a weather station there. Nice. Not that I know how they work, but... Crystal Fleet Inlet in Stickland Shelf, huh? Oh, okay, probably Watchtower. That's a cool ship. It's like a big aircraft carrier or something like that that's crashed up on shore. We don't have access to those yet. And honestly, I don't think we will. I think the game will die if it tries to render something that big. It's like... It's huge. Bigger than one of our ships. Like, even a battleship is maybe like... Battleship is maybe like that road. I guess they rendered it, but to have it operational and have enough people to cure it, probably stress a lot of things. Game did not like that. Just tried to throw me to the ground. And this is decay. This is what happens when you don't pay your MSUPs. Your things fall apart. Because there's stuff around it, it looks like this might be controlled. I wish I wouldn't do it with an ops bunker, but sometimes that is just a desired result because people either don't want to keep maintaining a place or they want to move or redo an area, like rebuild stuff. And because otherwise it takes a lot of explosives to rebuild, and also you have to flag it as disruptive. Flagging it as disruptive allows you to friendly fire it. After enough friendly fire, you get weapons locked. So you have to get a lot of people that are willing to be weapons locked for a period of time to destroy even your own work after a period of time. I gotta wake up early tomorrow. Also, because I gotta clean up my car. Because there's clean, and then there's families in my car clean. Alright, we're almost there. We're almost back in the home hex. With 4 MPFs worth of MSUPs. So, it's pretty good. I like it. And then I'll set a queue myself in my home province, but I'll do that after. After stream. I should put on my new earbud. I have over-the-head like HyperX Cloud, or HyperX's headphones. And I've had them for 6 years, so like the foam was dissolving. And on the left side, it actually just tore, and the cup wouldn't stay on it. So I got new cups, like replacement cups, which were $20, and a new set of this headphone would be $50, and like I wouldn't have a broken clip. But I decided just to do the cheaper thing, and I only put on one of the cups. I feel silly looking at the other one. I should just change them out. This will be a little bit of a rock slide there. It's not a mechanic, just looks interesting. What is back here? In fact, there's a train line back there as well, but like what facility is all the way back there? Just like in the margins, way behind everything. Most of it's in the rapid decay zone. It's like only like here and here on like the inside of the road could even build stuff and it wouldn't like rapidly explode. Facility ground. Do not touch. 31 days ago, nothing here. Oh, there's something. It looks very degraded. I am curious now. Whose facility is this? Three days ago. 2 days ago. Three days ago. Eight days ago. Really just seeing if there's anything of value here. I mean, I guess the pad. Some of the materials for, huh? No, they built smelters. That's pretty cool. 5 pecans. How many pecans is a 10? Boo. Probably has some material stuck in there, isn't there? Alright, what percent are you at? 45. Yep. So generally below 50% is viewed as lootable by the community. Some people say as low as 75, but better safe than sorry. Just because if these things collapse, nobody gets anything from them. Once they become the Hulks, all those resources are wasted. Is this the same guy? No, these are 81, so this is... It's also once again, they might be in the process of controlled degradation. Because with a couple of basic materials and putting in more maintenance supplies, you could... Ooh, good amount of pecans and some coke. I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to touch it. I want to touch it. I'm not going to, but I want to touch it. That's like... What pad are you? Not for touring rigger there. $2.52, 5 days ago. So, it's debatable. We'll see tomorrow morning. If they don't show up tomorrow morning, it's likely abandoned. All right. Well, I'm actually going to leave it off here because I'm about done. Thank you for all joining for me. Thank you all for joining me on this trucking edition of Mutrgen Plays, Dad's old shop. Oh, good old reliable truck. Yeah, have a good night and have a good weekend, and I will stream next week. I'll try to do more of the blacksmithing bellows. Well, thank you for joining, and have a good weekend.